What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special Simply Sunday election edition. All right, so let's get it started. So, where two or three are gathered in the midst, or where two or three are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. Welcome to Simply Sunday. All right, let's see what they are talking about. So, as you guys know, Trump is only got it right side. Let me hear what y'all saying. There we go.
7.8%. Donald J. Trump is leading right now by a pretty significant margin. That just jumped up. Now, some things to consider to be cautiously optimistic. New Mexico has gone back and forth between red and blue, but California, the state of California, has 54 electoral votes up for grabs. This is the big prize. California, and we know Kamala's home state that she has single-handedly destroyed in many ways as the attorney general. Well, they typically vote blue in California. Also, when you talk about Washington and Oregon, Washington has 12 electoral votes. Oregon has 8 electoral votes up for grabs. Texas gave President Trump 40. So that is a big win. We know that Kansas, it looks purple right now. That's going to go red. This is Kansas. This is agricultural territory. This is rural America. And this is a part of the country we call Trump country. You move just to the east, to Missouri. This is also Trump country. I'm not worried about these 3 states whatsoever. I just want to kind of zoom in for you, show you what's happening in the state of Iowa right now. We don't have a lot of returns, and the returns that we are getting are coming from Des Moines, and that's obviously the biggest city in Iowa. So we don't have a lot of concern about which way that state is going to shift either. Only 10% of votes have been counted at this point in Iowa. So Donald J. Trump now up to 177 electoral votes. Kamala Harris at 99. We know she's going to get that 54 in California. Nonetheless, the way that this is going right now, it is looking incredibly favorable for Donald J. Trump. Early projections, you take a look at some of the big pollsters, even Nate Silver of 538, he said that he was going to go with his gut, and he believed that President Donald J. Trump would win this election. We're seeing more and more of that as the trend. When you take a look at what people are talking about as we're all processing these numbers together tonight. What's so beautiful about being able to do this together as a country is that we want this change so much. We've been praying for it. We've been hoping for it.
Absolutely.
And based on the way things are going right now, again, it's still early. We don't want to get too optimistic and then have our hopes crushed.
As you can see, Donald Trump already has a pretty significant lead. Now, they're, of course, given California, Oregon, Washington State to Kamala, which I know it's going to sound crazy, but I'm actually kind of hopeful, especially the fact that San Francisco actually hates Kamala. So it's probably not going to happen. I know it's wishful thinking, but hey, one can drink. So the other day, my friend Nancy had asked about separation of churches, or not Nancy. What was her name? It doesn't matter. Somebody I was talking to was asking about church and state separation. Well, I scrolled through TikTok earlier, and my girl Keisha actually was talking about this. And I wanted to show everybody this video. So check this one out.
Today's the day. I hope we're all getting out, making our voices heard if we haven't already. I wanted to say something. I noticed that everyone's been talking about the separation of church and state. That applies to the government. It doesn't apply to us. So those of us who choose to take our Christian values and beliefs and use them to make a decision on who we will and will not vote for has nothing to do with the separation of church and state. Because the difference between us and the government is we are not the government. And I'll speak for myself, I will not be separated from my beliefs and where I stand based on some nonsense of church and state. That particular phrase gives you the freedom of religion. And it also gives you the freedom to not have religion. It has nothing to do with moral compass and the decisions that you make.
So I stand by that 110%. With that being said, Trump 2024.
It's going to be a new day, isn't it?
Trump 2024. You heard her. So a lot of people always keep talking about this, about the separation of church and state. They don't understand that it's not to keep the church out of politics. It's actually to keep politicians out of the church business. And remember, when the Pilgrims got here, they were running away from tyrannical government, where the government actually had churches. And that's where your taxes and all this other nonsense were coming from. So they came here to get away from that. And they didn't want to get that going back over here. So now, I don't know about y'all, but I know this has been coming a long time. Like I've been waiting for four daggone years to get these people out of office. And I actually posted, of course, my sticker earlier on my Facebook page. And one of my cousins was talking about it, and he was like, "You didn't vote for Trump, did you?" And I was like, "I did." Now, I was thoroughly expecting him to come back like, "Man, what are you doing?" But he was like, "Good." I loved it. I loved it. And I've tried to explain this to people. Like, the reason why I support Trump is because of my own beliefs. It's not something I'm not getting paid for this. It's not something that I've had to, just kind of come into. I had to literally check this man out, see what he actually believed in. See, y'all forget that the man's already been president. See what he's actually going to do for the country. Now, everybody's always like, what is he going to do for Black people? The thing is, if America succeeds, Black folks, we are part of America. We've got to stop separating ourselves like this. We do. You have to stop thinking that we are just like, oh, we're going to be over here in this part of America. And no, that's not how it works. If everyone succeeds, if everyone is successful, that means that's including Black folks. Now, I voted for Trump. And the reason why I voted for him is because, one, of course, I'm pro-life. And he's not as staunch on pro-life as I am. But he did something that no politician actually would. They sent the power back to the states where it belonged. Instead of having it federal mandated by the Supreme Court, all this other stuff, Roe versus Wade, whatever, they said, no, it's going to be based on the will of the people of the states. Remember, we are literally a country made out of sovereign states. Okay? States that have their own constitution. States that should be able to make up their own minds. States that should represent the people who live there, which is why you will have more liberal laws in California when it comes to abortion rights than you would in Indiana. Duh. Because the people of Indiana aren't like the people in California. Okay? They're not wanting to, and you can get mad all you want to, but in every successful abortion, a baby dies. A baby dies. And they always want to hit you with the sympathy. Oh, well, what about those who were raped or blah, blah? Listen, that is still a human life. A horrible thing has happened. We don't need to compound it by killing somebody innocent. Because I will tell you now, an abomination to God, and this is the word, an abomination to God is the shedding of innocent blood. That baby is innocent blood. The shedding of innocent life is an abomination to God. How can I stand with that? How can a Christian stand with that? So no. That's just one reason why I can't vote for Kamala, because Kamala would have babies aborted up until birth with no restrictions whatsoever. As a matter of fact, in some states, they would allow the baby to just sit there and die after a failed abortion. How could I be for that? You know, the other day I played this video, and it was a lady who was actually an abortionist. And since this is the special, I can go ahead and play it for you again if you'd like. But I will tell you now, the video itself tears me up, and it's one of those ones that it's hard for me to watch it. It really is because it's terrible. But you know what? Check this out.
I had to look for the body parts, the 5 pieces of the baby. The first time I knew that was a human being. The scales fell off my eyes, and I was literally in shock. And the abortionist came in to make sure that everything was in the petri dish, right? This big dish that we had. And he was whistling, and I remember him saying to everybody, "What are we all gonna have for lunch?" When before this abortion, he told me to tell the young woman it was not a baby, it was a sack of tissue. And I remember screaming inside of myself, how can he not see what I'm seeing? Could you see? Could you see that those were babies?
I can answer that for myself. I cannot speak for any other abortionist in the world. Did I know those were human beings? Absolutely. I didn't care. I did not care.
It's the 5 pieces of the baby. The first time I knew that was a human being. It's the 5 pieces of the baby.
Lord of mercy. Listen, this computer done went nuts for a second. Sorry about that, y'all. Look, you can think what you want. You are absolutely entitled to that, but that is a baby. So let's check back in and see what's going on with the race.
I mean, a lot of people trading and betting on that as well right now, as Ultra Right Beer is another sponsor here for Right Side Broadcasting Network. So you see that on the left side of your screen there, Fight Ultra Right Beer Limited Edition Trump Fight Beer, as you see. And you can go to TrumpFightBeer.com and use the RSBN promo code for 10% off. So that looks pretty cool. It's a limited edition as well. Always cool to see stuff like that.
Is it bad that I don't really want a beer, but I kind of want that mug? Like I want that koozie. Anyway, so, that was just one of the reasons. Like I said, abortion is just one of the reasons. And I am a faith and flag conservative, which means everything is from my morality, or not from my self-righteous morality, but from God's word. So, I always wonder why other people became conservative. So, you know what? Let's go to the rant room. See what my boy got to say. Check this out.
Why am I supporting Donald Trump? Well, yes, I love the policies. I love Agenda 47. I support everything in Agenda 47. I liked a lot of the things he did the first time around. I didn't agree with everything, but I agreed with enough of it, right? I do believe the 2020 election has some problems, and I do believe that Republicans, for the most part, dropped the ball. And I'm glad to see that this year everyone has stepped up, including making his daughter-in-law co-chair of the RNC, which is a brilliant move. And now I believe we will have a free and fair election this time around. But here's the thing about Donald Trump. He's not a career politician. Ever since he came out of that. Why am I supporting Donald Trump? Well, yes, I love the policies. I love Agenda 47. I support everything in Agenda 47. I liked a lot of the things he did the first time around. I didn't agree with everything, but I agreed with enough of it, right? I do believe the 2020 election has some problems, and I do believe that Republicans, for the most part, dropped the ball. And I'm glad to see that this year everyone has stepped up, including making his daughter-in-law co-chair of the RNC, which is a brilliant move. And now I believe we will have a free and fair election this time around. But here's the thing about Donald Trump. He's not a career politician. Ever since he came down that escalator in 2015, and mind you, before he even came down the escalator in 2015, he promised in 1988, if he saw this getting out of control, if our government's getting out of control and selling out the American people, he was going to get involved. So this wasn't something he just happened to do. He made it very clear why he was upset with the way the politics of this nation was ruining the fabric of our country. And he stepped up when he didn't have to. This man had the privileges that most of us will never have. And yet he put that aside and said, I have to support the people of America. That's why I support Donald Trump. He's a leader. He's a boss. He's not afraid to make the hard decisions. He's not afraid to say, yeah, I said that. Yeah, I did that, because he knows it's going to be spun and remixed and twerked and remixed and flip-flopped all over through the media just so they can spin a narrative. We know this. They are literally still talking about good people on both sides. Literally, after it's been debunked over and over and over again, they're still talking about things like that.
Because they're liars.
See what they did the last week of this campaign. But let me tell you what Donald Trump did. He campaigned literally for 4 years. All of Joe Biden's presidency, he's been campaigning. He has been tirelessly trying to earn the vote, trying to get the people to see that he's not who they say he is. He's a leader, he's a fighter, he's a boss, and that's why I'm standing with Donald Trump. Peace.
And they were both two enthusiastic crowds who wanted change. And he is such an inspiration. For him to make 2 appearances in Greensboro, he knows how important it is. Greensboro is also a heavily Hispanic-leaning area. And so I can tell you right now, he has been able to transcend every demographic across the country just based on the returns that we've seen so far, because we all want change. So that's what's happening right now in Wisconsin and North Carolina. It's big city numbers that are coming in. We need that rural vote. Rural America decides elections, and those numbers are going to continue to come in as time goes on. So where do we stand as far as the overall vote goes? In North Carolina, 59% of the votes have been tallied up at this point. In Wisconsin, just 19%. Minnesota still looks red. This is very inspiring as well. This is home of old Walls. You know, he's the governor who a lot of the people are very unhappy with, especially the way that he brought them through the pandemic.
It's because he's terrible.
We're excited.
It's because he's terrible at his job. There's a reason. There's a reason why his own state doesn't like him, because, like I said, the man is terrible at his job. Well, anyway, so now you heard from AJ, my boy from the rant room, why it is that he's a conservative. The simple fact is Donald Trump is a boss. That man is an absolute boss. He's a unit. And he's bringing these people together of various backgrounds to show how much of a boss he really is. How many other people, how many other politicians could have brought people like RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Megyn Kelly? Y'all remember Megyn Kelly didn't really mess with Trump in the beginning. All these people together and actually make them believe in his vision. Believe in his vision. And I'll tell you like this, the media lies on the man every time they get, you heard what AJ just said, the good people on both sides narrative. Obama just came up saying that, even though we all know it's a lie. And they always talk about the integrity of Trump, but they never call out the lies of the other side. They always question Trump's integrity. Like Trump is just lying every time he breathes. It seems like that's the same thing on the other side. But the lies that they call out Trump for happen to actually be truth. Well, not all of them, because he does embellish a lot. I got to get that out the way. He does embellish a lot. But they are just flat out lying to you. And nobody calls it out. Nobody. Well, we do on this side, but I'll take that back. Bill Maher finally called out his own side when they did this nonsense about him calling for Liz Cheney's execution. And if you don't know what that is, so he made a comment about Liz Cheney being a war hawk. And what he said was, why don't we put her out there with a rifle and have 9 guns trained on her and see, it's easy to go into war when you're just sitting behind a desk or something like that. It's a whole different thing when you're in the front lines. Well, anyway, Bill Maher calls this out like, you don't have to lie to me to make me dislike him. And even Anna Kasparian. Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks called out this nonsense about y'all keep calling the man Hitler, keep calling him a Schnazi, all this other nonsense, and he's none of these things. He's none of these things. And you actually degrade what it means to be a survivor of the Holocaust by calling this man a Schnazi. It's just absolutely asinine. As a matter of fact, my boy JD Vance, hold on. So JD Vance is a flipping unit, by the way. That man is a unit. He went on Jake Tapper's show. He's gone on all these leftist shows, and he's just left them, and for lack of a better word, he's left them flabbergasted. That's a good word. It's a big word like mayonnaise. I don't get to say that one a lot. Flabbergasted. And if you don't think that's a big word, try to spell it. So anyway, check this out. Get him, JD.
Ask yourself a basic question about network integrity. You guys talked about the Russia hoax nonstop.
The FBI was investigating it. The FBI was investigating it. So we covered them.
And so you took the words of unnamed FBI agents and put them on your network as if they were the gospel truth. You did it again and again. A viewer of your network would have believed that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin conspired in 2016.
No.
That was totally and preposterously false.
No, what you just said is false. We covered an FBI investigation. I don't know why you want to talk about the FBI investigation.
You covered it in a way that gave credence to anonymous sources' accusations. You did it yourself. Your network did it, Jake. But again, can we talk about the issues that Americans...
I'm talking about things that Donald Trump has said. If you have an issue with whether or not he's talking about the economy enough, that's between you and your running mate. I'm talking about things he has said this week.
Every single rally that he does, he talks about how he wants to unleash American energy so we can lower the cost of groceries. He talks about the fact that housing has become unaffordable. He talks about the wide open border, Jake. Kamala Harris and her allies, it's interesting. Kamala Harris and her media allies, and I would put CNN in this category. You guys seem... I'll tell you that. They would. Well, they should watch your network more because you guys seem to care more about Donald Trump's past than the future of the American people. We're running this campaign on making the American dream.
I'm specifically asking about how Donald Trump is going to be president in the future should he win, and we're being told
He's going to pursue economic policies that lower the cost of groceries and make life more affordable again. He talks about it every single day on the campaign trail, and so do I. What you're talking about is an anonymously sourced story, or one guy who is a disgruntled employee.
I told you
five other people pushed back against him and said that what he said was dishonest. So why don't we talk about the policy that's affecting American citizens and not what Donald Trump allegedly said, according to one guy who's pissed off because he got fired by Donald Trump?
Y'all ready? Listen up.
Well, all right then, JD. How you really feel, boss? Dang. So listen, JD has been putting the beat down on people and putting the kibosh to literally all these media lies. The Russian collusion hoax that was funded by Hillary Clinton in her campaign. By the way, this is something that people don't actually understand when it came to the Russian collusion hoax. So you do realize the Federal Elections Committee actually sanctioned Hillary Clinton for using campaign money to fund the Steele dossier, the Russian collusion nonsense, right? But isn't that what Donald Trump's 34 felony in New York for misusing campaign funds? Hold on, let me make sure I got this right. So Hillary Clinton uses campaign funds to fund a bogus Russian collusion hoax, gets sanctioned by the FEC. Trump doesn't get sanctioned by the FEC. Hold on. Maybe it's because it must have been in a different state, but Hillary Clinton's campaign was also in New York. Do you see what I mean? This is another thing that the left will do. And if you try to say that it's not lawfare, then I've got oceanside property for you in Oklahoma. It's 100% nonsense. And it's the way that the media spun things. They were talking about Russia, Russia, Russia. And every time you talk to someone, he's a Russian plant. He's this, he's that. And it was also nonsense. The good people on both sides, nonsense. The He's calling them rapists and murderers, all of them nonsense, when he's sitting there talking to actual people on the border. There's so much that they actually lie about with this man. And they look, the bleach. Oh, he's telling you to inject bleach into your body, but no, he didn't. No, he didn't. It was actually the Charlottesville lie that actually got me to really pay attention to him. And when it came to Agenda 47, I read through Agenda 47. It's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with that. And what's crazy is, so Elon Musk goes on to Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk is having a very, very thought-provoking conversation. And he said something that really, really stood out profoundly. And Mandy is actually one of the ones who she was one of the ones who picked it up first, that he had said this, because it's something that I have actually been saying for a while, which is the reason why they created the migrant crisis at the southern border, repealing all Trump's policies, right? Was because they were actually building their voter base. Now, of course, they'll say, oh, that's racist because that's the replacement theory. No. Do you know how California became the way it is? It's because of Ronald Reagan allowing all the illegal immigrants in there. And they overwhelmingly voted Democrat, giving them the majority in California. And just ever since then, you can't even turn it back red. But you know what? I'm going to let Elon say it. Check this out.
Hey, man. I think this is the last election. If Trump doesn't win, this is the last election.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think people, and a lot of people are waking up and realize that have been lifelong Democrats. Guys like Bill Ackman, guys like Chamath.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Tulsi Gabbard switched over to the Republicans. Yep. Like, there's a lot of people who their whole life they've been left wing, and they realize, like, I can't do this anymore.
You and I used to be Democrats.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's nuts, man. And if the Dems win this election, they will legalize enough illegals to turn the swing states, and everywhere will be like California. There will be no escape.
That is so insane.
This is the final. This is it. This is the last chance.
Has anybody tried to push back?
And I just want to, go out and vote. Vote like your life depends on it. Vote like your future depends on it, because it does. This is the last chance, man. Well, I'll say it.
That is the same thing that I've been screaming, is that if we're not paying attention, if they allowed all these migrants to come through and they flew them into swing states, and then they're trying to fast track them to citizenship, to be able to vote. How else do you, I want you to think of that from a critical standpoint, just a critical thinking standpoint. How else do you explain that? Why are they flying illegal migrants into swing states? It is once again to interfere and influence future elections. Because I'm pretty sure they know that if they win this election and they fast track these migrants to citizenship, that's the end of democracy that they call for. There will be no more two-party system because Republicans won't be able to win. They're not stupid. They're very smart. They've been playing chess this whole time. I've called it out so many times that I'm sick of saying it. If people don't get it by now, they won't get it. I mean, the votes are probably already locked in, so we'll see. Another reason why I cannot vote for Democrats, I can't vote for Kamala Harris, is because I actually care about women. I do. I have a wife, I have daughters, I have nieces, I have little cousins, and I've got a mother. Listen, when I say I care about women, I'm not talking about murdering babies in the womb, because that seems to be the left's agenda. when they talk about protecting women. No, they're talking about literally killing women. And it's funny that the party that couldn't even tell you what a woman was in the beginning, now all of a sudden, yeah. But anyway, when I say I care about women, I care about women's rights that they've actually fought for. That's the right to actually compete in their own sports, to have their own spaces, to have their own restrooms. Yet, if the Democrats win, that's all out the window, because you better get used to having a man in your bathroom. You better be used to getting used to having a man in your locker room. You better get used to having a man competing in your sports, competing for scholarship money. Which, if you think about that, that doesn't seem very fair now, does it? Yet this is what they call for. I'm not with that. I'm not with you putting this gender ideology nonsense in elementary schools. They're already trying to learn how to read and write. They're going through a confusing time. The dread monster pubertus is creeping up on them. And you're telling them that they're born in the wrong body? Or you're confusing them with this nonsense of pronouns? I use these or do you realize, and this is no lie, you can look this up for yourself, most of the people who have this gender ideology confusion actually happen to be on the spectrum. Most of them are autistic. So instead of actually just confirming or affirming, why don't you actually get them help? Why don't you get them help? It doesn't, affirming this nonsense doesn't decrease the issues that they have. Yeah, you should go look at your own studies. We trust the science that tells you boys can be girls and girls can be boys. I would question the science. That's just another one of those many reasons that I cannot vote for a Democrat. So, hey, Pastor John Amon Chakwu actually said something, because I, like I said earlier, I'm a faith and flag conservative. And he actually spoke about some of this. Like, he's not a Jamal Bryant, I'll tell you that. So check this out.
Y'all ready? Listen up. You cannot vote for the Democrat Party and then still claim to have a biblical worldview. George Barna did a study in 2004 to find out the biblical worldview of senior pastors. At that time frame, the biblical worldview of senior pastors was a measly 51%. By 2022, the same study was done. And what was the biblical worldview then of senior pastors? 37%. So when you ask yourself the question, why are so many Christians supporting the Democrat Party? It's because they have sissy preachers. That's why. Men who are preaching about Christ but don't agree with Christ. Men who profess that they are following our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, but they don't agree with what the Bible says from Genesis to Revelations. Find a new church and find a church that talks about voting for biblical values.
Tell them, Pastor. Look, get them, Pastor. So I've said that for a long time. A lot of these so-called churches are too busy in their ideology as opposed to what God's word says. They're too into making idols out of your race, your color, your gender, all this other nonsense, as opposed to biblical principles. Any church that's out there right now talking about reproductive rights, as opposed to murder in the womb, as opposed to these babies dying, any preacher out there that's talking about this gender ideology, as opposed to they made them male and female, any pastor out there that is affirming LGBTQ values and everything is all this other stuff, as opposed to God telling you what happens when you are sexually immoral. Sexual immorality does not lead to the kingdom. I'm sorry, that's the truth. You can approach it with love, but if you say that you love them and you sit there and lie to them, and you thoroughly believe that God's word is absolute, that their lifestyle will lead to an eternity in hell, and you say nothing, that doesn't sound like love. It doesn't sound like love at all. And I don't want to hear that nonsense about, oh, you can hate the sin and hate the sinner. Does God separate it? Does God separate the sin from the sinner? Does God separate the sin, take it out of the sinner, throw the sin into hell, and then take the sinner into heaven? No. They're one and the same. They're intertwined. And I'm not saying that you have to hate the sinner, because it's not my job to hate anyone. It's not our purpose to hate anyone. It is our purpose to show the world the light of God for his glory, not your own, for his glory. But listen, y'all, a lot of people ain't ready for that conversation. So it is what it is. Now, listen, that is just one of the many reasons. Like I said, the abortion. I'll tell you now, another one is the Democrats being anti-Israel, the Democrats being anti-God. Oh yeah. Who to the Democrats is the worst group of people on the planet? White, straight Christian nationalists, males. White, straight Christian males. They label them as what? White nationalists or white Christian nationalists, as opposed to what they just are, which is straight white men who worship Christ. And they want to see biblical values and principles and morality spread throughout our nation. Because guess what? This is something that the Democrats always get wrong. America is not its government. America is its people. That's right. The Constitution, Declaration of Independence, all these wonderful articles were written not to tell people what to do, but to tell the government what they're allowed. A lot of people get this all mixed up. And that's why I said I am for women. I'm for women's rights. I don't think the Riley Gaines should have had to swim against the man. I don't think the Fallon Foxes in the world should be in the cage with biological women. The little boy out in Virginia, we don't want to even talk about what he did twice. And then the school tries to cover it up. I'm for parental rights in education. I'm not for these states sitting there deciding that they can transition children without their parents' permission. So yeah, just another reason why I couldn't vote Democrat if I couldn't do that if I wanted to, and I don't, because that's sick. Something's wrong with people. I'm telling you now, this is a crucial election. So, all right, let's check back in, see if we got some more updates, see what else is going on. All right.
And to that point, I saw hundreds of signs in Bucks County. And although they're saying it's a very purple place, I can tell you now, we saw tremendous numbers of signage for Trump and Vance. That was the majority. I would say 90% of the signs I saw were for President Trump, 10% for Harris and Walz, which I thought was very interesting.
And Nikki,
oh wait, there's some applause.
And
Utah.
To your point, yes, we can confirm that as well. The AP projects that Montana and Utah have been won by President Donald J. Trump. So Montana and Utah, and also Nikki, there's some numbers out of Pennsylvania that I'm looking at right here. Pennsylvania, when we're looking at the map, right, we see shades of blue or shades of purple, shades of red. Well, guess what? Pennsylvania, shades of red right now. Shades of red right now. Let me share with you the numbers that I'm looking at. 1.4 million. Yes, 1.4 million for President Trump. But also, let's look at the percentage breakdown. 49.8% to 49.3%. So a slight lead right now. 43% of the votes counted in Pennsylvania. This is the first time that we've seen Pennsylvania, I think, shade red. So, Nikki, being at all the rallies and being here on this day,
let's go
like, for you right now, but also
let's go
those kind of numbers.
All right.
Well, I'll tell you
too
what,
early.
guys.
I know,
first of
too
all,
early to
I
get
love being
excited,
with you guys on
but
this night. You know how I feel about both. You know how I feel about you. And this has been a journey we have shared together. And the rallies, of course, are all about supporting President Trump. And so I didn't know what to expect today. And of course, tonight is more of a Trump party. So, of course, it is that rally kind of a feel. But it's also a little bittersweet, like it was last night of the rallies.
Talking about right now.
Everybody kind of recognizing that this journey, or at least this portion of the journey, coming to an end. But hopefully, we turn the page, if we will, and we see
Let's go,
a new
baby.
chapter that brings us to the White House. And I think there's a lot of optimism, you guys. There's a lot of optimism here.
All right. Look, we ain't going.
People are
Not too soon.
really optimistic about what's to come. They're cheering. They're getting excited as we see Dave McCormick inching up in the polls, which is so exciting. We've seen Dave McCormick, as you know, Bobby. We see him at almost every rally in Pennsylvania. It's incredible to see this kind of enthusiasm on the ground.
Even Chase is getting excited out there.
Unlike a rally, you'll appreciate this, you guys. Unlike a rally, there's a bar. There are state.
Oh, boy. All right. Yo, let's flippin' go. Let's go. Oh, this is getting good. This is getting good, y'all. This is getting very, very good. I don't know about you guys. I'm getting excited over here. Look at that. Look. Oh. Hold on. I'm going to play. So I was watching, and I've watched through the years, Megyn Kelly. And Megyn Kelly, I'm going to tell you now, she's sharp. She's sharp. I made a couple videos about Megyn Kelly through the years. And at this last Trump rally, at one of these last Trump rallies, she actually got up there and she started talking about how it is she came to kind of stand with Trump. And it really, it was one of those moments where I'm just like, I get it. I understand. Like, I was there for the longest time. And it was pretty cool. Now, I'm trying to find this video for you guys so y'all can see what Megyn actually said, because it was really, really good. Hold on. Let me see if I can find her. Nope. No, I guess I didn't put it on here. Well, I guess I didn't download the video like I was supposed to. Or it's just not showing up. So instead, I'll let you see this. Check this out.
Election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
Don't you want healthy children? Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
I come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
people dreamed this country. And it's the people who are making America great again.
All right. How awesome was that? That was an awesome video. Like, it shows the unity that Donald Trump really has been bringing with this new campaign, with his Agenda 47 and his Maha movement with the Make America Healthy Again. Now, I remember having these conversations on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all this other stuff about when was America ever great? And like I said earlier, America is not its government, it's its people. So I think the American people have been great for a long time. I still remember when I was a kid, block parties, Tupperware. They come over for those crock pots. Like, everybody had a crock pot full of stuff. So you had meatballs, Vienna sausages, all this other stuff, little smokies, and it was just a good time. You didn't have to worry about your block getting shot up. You didn't have to worry about offending the wrong person. You didn't have to worry about pretty much anything except for building your family, core values. You went to church on Sundays. For some of us, you went to church on Wednesday too. I mean, it is what it is. Like, America's been great. But here lately, we've been so divided, so set against each other that I'm just ready to get back to some normalcy. And I'll tell you now, people think that Trump is the denomination or the reason, the denominator, excuse me, for this division. He's not. A lot of it is media driven. A lot of it is because they didn't want the man back in office. That's why you had the lawfare. That's why you had the smear campaigns. That's why you have the left trying to equate him to Schnazis, and to where you have these radical idiots taking pot shots at him. And a lot of it's media driven. I've been debating Trump and Trump policies and his attitude and the things he says versus Democrats for years now. I've heard pretty much any argument you could bring out. I've done so much research on some of the most demure things that it's just like, it's old hat to me now. And it shouldn't be like that. I have people that I respect very, very much. Childhood friends, parents of my childhood friends, cadre from my school, the high school that I went to. And they are diametrically opposed to the things that Trump stands for. And I've always wondered, and I wanted to, have a real conversation, because, to be honest with you, I don't really like debating. I like conversations. I'd rather just talk. And if we have a disagreement, hey, the good thing is we've got smartphones nowadays. You can look things up. You can look up anything that I've ever said, because I already have. I'm not just saying things just to say them. I look them up before I say them. And if I don't know something, usually I'll say, hey, I don't know. And that's just what it is. So now, I've given you a couple reasons why, of course, that it is that I support Trump. I've always been curious why other people were supporting Trump. So I was supposed to get a video from my twin brother, but I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he just forgot. It is what it is, but that's okay. It's okay. I love him anyway. So he probably just got a little busy. But I do definitely want to check in with a couple people for you. Now, let's see. Let me see my video. I think we should play Keisha's. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Keisha or AJ's Rant Room or anything like that, these are very amazing people who are very, very knowledgeable when it comes to politics and their beliefs. And here's Keisha's reason. So check this out.
When asked why I'm voting for Trump, I want to make something and one thing very clear. It's bigger than Trump. It's always been bigger than Trump. He is just currently the figurehead that is leading the way. And when Trump is gone, there'll be another, and my values will not have changed. But the reason I'm voting for Trump is because I would like to bring God back to this country. I would like to bring some morals and some beliefs back to this country. I am voting for the person who aligns closest with the things that are biblically written and the things that I hold near and dear to me. So with that being said, the man that has professed that Jesus is king is the man that I will vote for. I will not be voting for the one who shooed them out and told them they were at the wrong rally, and that's just what it is.
Well, all right then. Go ahead, Keisha. So, in case you were wondering what she was talking about, Kamala, at one of her rallies, there was two young men who were there, and one of them shouted out that Jesus or Christ is king. And she said, "Oh, y'all must be at the wrong rally." Yeah. You had been out of the smaller rally down there. Yes. First of all, if I never hear her laugh like that again, it'll be too soon. I cannot stand it. It's almost as bad as Chanel West Coast. My bad, West Coast. I absolutely, oh gosh. I so dislike it. It's not even funny. Now, I would love to sit here and talk to y'all about the people that I've met throughout the years. My boy Craig Long, my boy Lumberjack, the Rant Room, the Trifecta. You got Keisha Inc. You got African Hippie. You got Politicrats. You got Drucifers. You got like all these people that I've gotten to know. Mel, Randy, Thunderfoot, my people. I mean, Cessa, I even got people who I disagree with that follow me on a regular. Other than, let's be real, there's this one dude named Intellectual Honesty, and he is far from it. He is far from an intellectual, and he's far from honest. And when you call him out on his bullcrap, he'll just spin. And I'm just like, why do I don't even bother talking to you. I'm not just gonna respond to you if all you're gonna do is spin. You pivot, spin, circumvent, try this other nonsense. That's where I am in life. Like, I will have the conversation if it's coming from an honest place. If we're having good faith conversations, I'll do that. But as far as people circumventing the truth or just I'm not doing that. That's goofy. I've got this group of individuals that follow me on Instagram that are very good for that. Oh yeah, we call people out by name. You know who you are, Johnny, and your crew. Every video I post, just about, they're on there. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I've tried to have a good faith conversation with them as well. But as you know, the Bible tells you can't cast your pearls before swine. So it was pointless to have these conversations because one thing for sure, two things for certain. If somebody's yelling at you, that means they're probably not listening anyway. So now, like I said, I was supposed to get a video, and I'm going to look, I want y'all to hold Prince accountable. I was supposed to get a video from Prince, didn't end up getting it, but that's okay because somebody else came through. Even though the problem with his video was the volume. The volume didn't come through. So I had to go through and grab one of his old ones. I hope he ain't too mad at me. Check this out. This is Frankie the Lumberjack.
Funny. Check it out. I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom.
Hiya.
Trump rally going here. You're a liar.
Me too.
Why do you do this? I get that, Obama removed the Smith-Once Act and allowed you guys to spread propaganda and lies to the public, but stop. It's cap. I've been to several of his rallies, multiple years. It's always been fantastic. You're just a liar. But why is it that you have to have famous people come to your rally just to get people there, and then this happens when, you suck? So you have Beyonce and some dude walking out on the stage.
Hey, don't be talking about Kelly.
Then that same dude, giving a speech, and then you come out. Yeah, you come out. And you give a long embrace to the dude, and, nice hug, and you hug Beyonce, sharing love, and then they leave. And then the dude and Beyonce leave, and guess who else is leaving? The people. Because they thought they were going to get a free concert from Beyonce. But they didn't. Because, you lied. You used Beyonce's name to get people there, and people are pissed and booing you and leaving. Not there listening. So not only are you a horrendous liar, you actually have to have other people cape for you just so you can draw a crowd. Miss Body Yaddy 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 and Beyonce and some dude. By the way, I think I found out who this dude is. Check it out.
Out there right now and get these people on my side.
Yep, looks just like him. Disney Pixar characters are out here with Beyonce saying some words on a stage, and when they leave, your people leave. You're not going to do well in this election.
Oh my God, he ain't craft for that. You can't. Hey. I'll tell you something. You don't talk about Kelly Rowland. You don't talk about Kelly Rowland like that. It's Kelly Rowland. Daggone it. Oh man, listen, let's check back in and see what's going on. Hopefully we got some more good news. Let's check them out.
That had to deal with the border, the wide open border, the crime rates going up, the threat of more tax dollars that we're going to have to delve out in order to sustain this brand new population. It's very concerning. Ruben Gallego now at 53.0%, Carrie Lake at 45%. It's still early, very early within the state of Arizona, where only 48% of the votes have been counted. Now, when you have to compare what's going on with Carrie Lake versus Donald Trump, it's still looking much better for Donald J. Trump. We're just going to have to wait and see when it comes to the presidential numbers that have been included, 48% at this time. Now, I want to take a look at what's happening in Pennsylvania, because you boys just diligently pointed out Pennsylvania is a state that has gone from blue to red. Now, we have the major reporting sites: Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Allentown, and Philadelphia. These are all blue. Most of the numbers have been tallied up at this point. So within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, we now have 52% of that vote tallied up. However, all those rural counties now are slowly starting to be counted. And so Pennsylvania, with 19 critical electoral votes on the line, could very easily go to Donald J. Trump. North Carolina, 73% of the vote has been counted at this point. I want to zoom in and show you what's happening county by county. Raleigh, you have blue. Charlotte, blue. Greensboro, still blue in this area. But you look at all this red, and I really want to point out what's happening here. On the eastern side of North Carolina, you have more of that blue. But on the western side, this is the area that was hit so hard by Hurricane Helene. People still got out. In fact, they were more motivated than ever to cast their vote for Donald J. Trump in this part of the country, because they saw how he was there for them when Kamala Harris was not. And they didn't have any trouble getting to the ballot box. A lot of them went out of their way to make sure to cast that vote. So that is incredibly inspiring. Right now, we currently have Kamala Harris at 112 and then Donald J. Trump at 198. Again, California carries a lot of weight, 54 electoral votes up for grabs, 12 in Washington State, and in between, you have Oregon with 8 on the line. Idaho typically goes red. That's going to be 4 electoral votes. And then, of course, another swing state where we really don't have any data just yet is Nevada, where we have 6 electoral votes up for grabs. Also watching that Senate race for Sam Brown in this part of the country. We're going to have to wait another hour, possibly another couple hours before we start getting any meaningful data back. But so far, we're looking good. And Alaska is also an interesting state. And I know, Bobby McNeely, you know all about Alaska. We're going to have to wait quite a bit longer in order to get Alaska with 3 electoral votes
Man,
for grabs.
I don't know about y'all. But yeah, it's getting down to the wire. Let's go. I'm ready. Let's go. And I want y'all to know this, that win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter, because God has control. God's in control. That's why I'm not too worried about anything. Anything that comes to be, God's got it. That's it. God's got it. So we'll just look. That's why I ain't got no worries, one way or the other. I know what I'd like to see happen. If it's not God's will, it's not God's will. There it is. But that will do it for this election special. I hope you guys are tuned into your TVs. I still got to work tomorrow morning, one way or the other. Doesn't matter who ends up in the White House. I got to go to work. So, I got a family to feed, and I got some hungry people. But I will leave y'all with this one. I got to play this for y'all because I saw this and it made me laugh so hard just because of. So it is another Freedom Tune. And if y'all have never watched Freedom Tunes, what are y'all doing with your life? Freedom Tunes are flipping hilarious. Hold on. I am going to go ahead and pull it up for you guys now. Oh my gosh. Please. Oh, come on. I know I downloaded that here. Oh, there it is. All right, here we go. Check this out.
You know, many are saying that you're redefining masculinity.
Oh, well, it's so important to understand as men that women have voices. Women are people. Women need to be loved and heard and listened to.
I brought you your coffee.
Hold on. I go any further. In case you're wondering who this is supposed to be a spoof of Kamala's husband, Doug Emhoff. So, yeah, you're welcome.
Coffee? Ow! Doug, I didn't mean to. He's very sensitive. He doesn't like to be interrupted. Please don't. Doug, I didn't mean to.
Hey, cut it out! Sensitivity is so important. Please look deep inside yourself. Get in touch with your feminine side. What?
Would you sit back down and do the...
Get him. Oh. Oh.
Cut it out! Please stop chasing me. Embrace your feminine side. Get back here! Your toxic masculinity is making people scared! Why must men prove themselves with violence? Can't manhood be defined by understanding, sensitivity, and compassion? And if mercy is not for those who have done wrong, then what meaning does it have? Maybe you're right. He's attacking a second gentleman! Get him!
Why do those crack me up like that? They are something. That's all I'm going to hear. That is all I'm going to hear. So, all right, y'all, listen. Prayers up. Be praying for this country. Pray that you don't have to pray for who's getting into office. You do understand that. Like I said, God's got control. Just pray that God's will be done. That's it. That's all you got to pray for. God's will be done. Okay? And I will say it like this. I'm ready to do this. Make America great again by making America godly again. Making America fear the Lord again. The fear of the Lord. Yeah. There it is. So much love, y'all. Hey, we will catch you out this Sunday on Simply Sunday, 8 p.m. sharp. We will be there. And of course, we will get to have a conversation about who's in office. And, I heard that we're having a gender reveal, and I hope it's a boy. So, I mean, you know what it is, So much love. We will catch you in the next one. Thanks for joining with us on Simply Sunday, the special election edition. Talk to you soon.